Hello, book lovers and English learners. Welcome to Leaders Book Club, your podcast, your weekly dose of reading in English. I'm Lydie Bureau. I'm an English teacher in France and also the founder of Leaders Book Club, a book club for learners of English and non-native English speakers who want to maintain their good level in English. In this book club, I host live readings and live discussion workshops on adaptations of classics of literature and contemporary novels in their original text. I also tend to prioritize books that are written by women. Each month, we read and explore a different book for all levels of English. For the next 2 months, we're going to read the original text of this book. It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover and published in 2022. For this book, you need a strong B2 or a C1 advanced level in English. With the members of the book club, we've decided to read this book because our last read was It Ends With Us. This book. And this was published in 2016, and this is the sequel of this book. So it just made sense for us to read the sequel book after reading the first one. If you don't know anything about this book or Colleen Hoover, then I invite you to listen to the podcast episode 30, which is available on this YouTube channel and also on Spotify. So today it is session 8, and we are going to read together chapters 15 and 16. If you would like to attend this live reading with me live on Zoom, you just need to subscribe to the newsletter to get your free link. And I highly recommend you to join us live because it will be the best way for you to improve your reading and comprehension skills in English. And you will get the chance to ask me any questions that you might have as well, and have a little chat at the end of the reading. Also, on Saturday, the 26th of April, I will host the second live discussion workshop. We will talk about chapters 15 to 25. The schedule has been a little bit reorganized because of commitment from the members. So this is the reason why we have the second live discussion workshop only on the 26th of March. So the live discussion is only accessible for the members of the book club. It's a private conversation on Zoom that I don't record, that I don't post on YouTube, but I record it as well. But it's only on, but it's not posted on YouTube. So if you want to join us, you just need to become a member of the book club. You've got the link in the description, or you just go to Leaders Book Club. Also, I recommend you to join this discussion workshop because it will significantly improve your speaking skills, your fluency, and get you motivated to read more as well. It's very informal and it's a fantastic way to meet other members of the book club. And last thing, if you're not sure about joining this book club yet, you can purchase any live workshop series that we've done in the past on the live workshop store on the website. You can find it on the you can find the link in the description as well. You don't need to become a member for that. You just select the workshop that you want, and on checkout, you'll be asked to create your own login, which will give you a private access to the videos to watch and enjoy at your own pace. So let's get started. And as always, I'm going to do a quick recap of uh, chapters 13 and 14, the chapters that we have read. When was it? On Wednesday, yes. Time flies. So, chapter 13. In chapter 13, Atlas meets his mom. Well, meet. He's a little bit forced. He doesn't have any other choice because she's at the hotel. She's at his restaurant. So he is. So when he arrives, she's there waiting for him at a table, and obviously is not very happy to see her. Is um, very defensive towards his mother. It's been perhaps it's been actually he says it well between 10 and 15 years that he hasn't seen her. So he doesn't really understand why she's here. He only assumes that she is here for his money, to ask him money. And he just want to be done with it, with her. So he doesn't have any other choice than just then face her. And straight away he's asking her, how much do you need? Um, well, they say hi first, but then his mother seems to be very impressed by the fact that he is a restaurant owner. And then he asks her, so how much do you need? And then she tells him, surprisingly, that she's not here for his money, but um, there, but for something else. She um, tells him about Josh. She can't find Josh, and there is a little pro quo or a misunderstanding. I don't know which word you're familiar with, but quid pro quo is quite a nice expression to use if you want to impress your guest during an evening, whatever. Anyway, so there is a misunderstanding between the two because Atlas is like, what are you talking about? Who is Josh? I don't understand. I don't get it. And well, we learn that Atlas has a little brother. So basically, when he left his mother, so when he was a teenager, when Atlas was a teenager and came back to his mother's and to be well to for him well to that she takes him back basically because he had left the house and he wanted to move back in and she refused. Well, she made him understand that he was not welcome anymore. And at this point, she was already pregnant, but Atlas didn't know about that. So he's very shocked when he learns that he had a brother all this whole time, but never knew about it. And it seems like he's been missing for 2 weeks, and she only waited and she waited this far long to ask him for help. So it's been 2 weeks that he's missing, and she's asking him basically to help her find Josh. So Atlas, despite the indifference and the anger that he holds against her, against his mother, says, okay, I just go back home and I'll do what I can and I'll try to find him. And so he's helping her. So he really sees that there is an opportunity to save this boy somehow, or just find him. And he suspects that, if you remember, there's been vandalism in Atlas's restaurants a couple of times, and he is seen on the camera footage this young person sleeping in the restaurant, eating croutons. So he suspects that, and the mistake asshole written in red or painted in red at the front door of his one of his restaurants. So he's suspecting that he's connecting the boy with his mother, because this is the way his mother used to say asshole. And he's suspecting that his brother that's been sneaking in this restaurant. So is very shocked from this news and from having this conversation with his mother. At the same right after his mother left, Lily calls him, and she just had the fight with Ryle on the rooftop. She looks also like she's been crying and defeated, and she just calls him for some comfort in a way, and he offers her to come to her apartment and give her a hug, um, which is a very sweet gesture, a little bit over the top, I would say, but maybe, I don't know, some people do crazy shit when, I mean, it's not crazy, but sometimes, or do very cheesy stuff when they're in a relationship. So I guess that's probably something that people would do, I guess, people in love would do. But I find it a little bit, yeah, over the top. Anyway, so he drives to her apartment, and that's chapter 14 now. He just stays at the door and hugs her as soon as he sees her, as soon as Lily opens the door. And Lily feels so good in his arms, and she feels safe as well, and all is quiet. Remember when in the first book, and it ends with us when she was recalling her time when they were young, and especially the time where everything was difficult at Lily's house, especially with her father hitting her mother. She would find comfort in Atlas's arms, and she would go to him. So she always felt safe in his arms and comforted. So I guess it's something that look for you look for in a partner and in someone that you love. So to comfort him in return, she gives him another diary um, that she had in her bedroom, and obviously he's thrilled about it. Chapter 15 now. Atlas as the narrator. When I was in the military, I was stationed with a friend who had family from Boston. His aunt and uncle were getting ready to retire and went and wanted to sell their restaurant. It was called Miller's. Uh, when I visited it, one on and when I visited it on leave 1 year, I absolutely fell in love with the place. I can say it was the food. I can't. I can say it was the food or the fact that it was located in Boston, but the truth is, I fell in love because I fell in love with it because of the preserved tree growing. Sorry, because of the preserved tree growing in the center of the main dining room. The tree that you can see at Bibbs. The tree reminded me of Lily. If anything is going to remind someone of their first love, trees are probably the last thing you want as a reminder. They're everywhere, which is probably why I've thought about Lily every day since I was 18. But that, sorry, I don't know where that come from. But that could also be because I still to this day feel like I I owe her my life. I'm not sure if it was the tree or the fact that the restaurant came almost fully stocked and staffed, but I felt a pull to buy it when it became available. It wasn't my goal to own a restaurant right out of the military. I had planned to work as a chef to gain experience. But when this opportunity presented itself, I couldn't walk away from the prospect. I used the money I saved up from my time as a Marine, and I secured a business loan, bought the restaurant, changed the name, and created a whole new menu. Sometimes I feel guilty for the business Bibbs has had. Like I haven't paid my dues. I didn't just inherit the staff who already knew what they were doing, but I inherited customers as well. I didn't build I didn't build it from the ground up, which is why I feel a heavy amount of imposter syndrome when people congratulate me on the success of Bibbs. That's why I opened Corrigan's. I don't know what, I don't know that I was trying to prove anything to anyone other than myself, but I wanted to know that I could do it. I wanted the challenge of creating something from nothing and watching it flourish and grow. Like what Lily wrote in her journal about why she liked growing things in her garden when we were teenagers. Maybe that's why I feel more protective of Corrigan's than I do of her Bibbs, because I created it from nothing. That might also be the reason I put more effort into protecting it. Corrigan's has a working security system and is a hell of a lot harder to break into than Bibbs, which is why I chose to spend tonight at Bibbs, even though Corrigan's is due to be broken into if we're going by the rotating schedule this kid has developed. The first night was the first night was Bibbs. The second night was Corrigan's. He took a few days off, and then the third and fourth incidents were at Bibbs. I may be wrong, but I have a feeling he'll show up here again before going back to Corrigan's. Okay, so he sneaked in 4 times. Um, but I have a feeling he'll show up here again before going back to Corrigan's simply because he's had more success getting into the less secure of the two places. I just hope tonight isn't one of the nights he decides not to show up. He'll definitely show up here if he's hungry. Bibbs is Bibbs is his better bet for food, which is why I'm hiding on the far side of the dumpster, waiting. I pulled over one of the tattered chairs the smokers use on their breaks, and I've been passing time by reading. Liz's words have kept me company a little too well, because there have been several times I've been so engrossed in this journal I forget that I'm supposed to be on alert. I don't know for certain if the kid who has been vandalizing my restaurants is the same kid who shares a mother with me, but the timing makes sense, and the targeted insults that he's been spray painting makes sense if they are coming from a kid who despises me. I can't think of anyone else who would have good reason to be angry with me more than a little boy who feels abandoned by his older brother. It's almost 2 in the morning. I check the security app on my phone for Corrigan's. There's nothing new happening over there either. I go back to reading the journal, even though the last couple of entries have been painful to read. I didn't realize how much my leaving for Boston impacted Lily when she was younger. In my mind, at that age, I felt like an inconvenience in her life. I had no idea how much she felt. I had no idea how much she felt I brought to her life. She felt I brought to her life. Reading the letters she wrote back, she, oh, sorry. Reading the letters she wrote back then has been a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. I thought it would be fun to read her thoughts, but when I started reading them, I remembered how cruel our childhoods were to us. I don't think about it much anymore because I'm so far removed from the life I lived back then. But I'm being thrown back into those moments from every angle this week. It seems, it seems, the information in the journal entries, my mother finding out I have a brother, it all feels like everything I've tried running from has formed a slow leak that's threatening to sink me. But then there's Lily and her impeccable timing being back in my life. She always seems to show up when I need a lifeline. I flip through the rest of the journal and see that I'm already halfway through the last entry she made. I have very little recollection of that night because of the dreadful way it ended. Part of me doesn't even want to experience it from her point of view, but I can't not know how I felt, how I left her feeling for all those years. I open the last entry and pick up where I left off. He took my hands in his and told me he was leaving sooner than he planned for the military, but that he couldn't leave without telling me thank you. He told me he'd be gone for 4 years and that the last thing he wanted for me was to be a 16-year-old girl not living my life because of a boyfriend I never got to see or hear from. The next thing he said made his blue eyes tear up until they looked clear. He said, "Lily, life is a funny thing. We only get so many years to live it, so we have to do everything we can do we can to make sure those years are as full as they can be. We shouldn't waste time on things that might happen someday or maybe even never. I knew what he was saying, that he was leaving for the military and he didn't want me to hold on to him while he was gone. He wasn't really breaking up with me because we weren't really together. We'd just been two people who helped each other when we needed it and got our hearts fused together along the way. It was hard being let It was hard being let go by someone who had never really grabbed hold of me completely in the first place. In all the time we've spent together, I think we both sort of knew this wasn't a forever thing. I'm not sure why, because I could easily love him that way. I think maybe under normal circumstances, if we were together, like typical teenagers, and he had an average life with a home, we could be that kind of couple. The kind who comes together so easily and never experiences a life where cruelty sometimes intersects. I didn't even try to get him to change his mind that night. I feel like we have the kind of connection that even the fires of hell couldn't severe. I feel like he could go spend his time in the military and I'll spend my years being a teenager, and then it will all fall back into place when the timing is right. I'm going to make a promise to you, he said. When my life is good enough for you to be a part of it, I'll come find you. But I don't want you to wait around for me because that might never happen. I didn't like that promise because it meant one of two things. Either he thought he might never make it out of the military alive, or he didn't think his life would ever be good enough for me. His life was already good enough for me, but I nodded my head and forced a smile. If you don't come back for me, I'll come for you. And it won't be pretty, Atlas Corrigan. He laughed at my threat. Well, it won't be too hard to find me. You know exactly where I'll be. I smiled. Where everything is better. He smiled back. In Boston. And then he kissed me. Ellen, I don't know. I know you're an adult and know all about what comes next, but I still don't feel comfortable telling you what happened over those next couple of hours. Let's just say we both kissed a lot. We both laughed a lot. We both loved a lot. We both breathed a lot. A lot. And we both had to cover our mouth and be as quiet and still as we could so we wouldn't get caught. When we were finished, he held me against him, skin to skin, hand to heart. He kissed me and looked straight in my eyes. I love you, Lily. Everything you are. I love you. I know those words get thrown around a lot, especially by teenagers. A lot of times prematurely and without much merit. But when he said them to me, I knew he wasn't saying it like he was in love with me. It wasn't that kind of I love you. Imagine all the people you meet in your life. There are so many. They come in like waves, trickling in and out with the tide. Some waves are much bigger and make more of an impact than others. Sometimes the waves bring with them things from deep in the bottom of the sea, and they leave those things tossed onto the shore in prints against the grains of sand that prove the waves had once been there, long after the tide recedes. That was what Atlas was telling me when he said, I love you. He was letting me know that I was the biggest wave he'd ever come across. And I brought so much with me that my impressions would always be there, even when the tide rolled out. After he said he loved me, he told me he had a birthday present for me. He pulled out a small brown bag. It isn't much, but it's all I could afford. I opened the bag and pulled out the best present I'd ever received. It was a magnet that said Boston on the top. At the bottom, in tiny letters, it said, "Where everything is better." I told him I would keep it forever, and every time I look at it, I think of him. When I started out this letter, I said my 16th birth I said my 16th birthday was one of the best days of my life because up until that second, it was. It was the next few minutes that weren't. Before Atlas had showed up that night, I wasn't expecting him, so I didn't think to lock my bedroom door. My father heard me in there talking to someone, and when he threw open my door and saw Atlas in bed with me, he was angrier than I'd ever seen him. And Atlas was at a disadvantage by not being prepared for what came next. I never forget that moment for as long as I live, being completely helpless as my father came down on him with a baseball bat. The sound of bones snapping was the only thing piercing through my screams. I still don't know who called the police. I'm sure it was my mother, but it's been 6 months and we still haven't talked about that night. By the time the police got to my bedroom, I pulled my father off of him. I didn't even recognize Atlas. He was covered in so much blood. I was hysterical. Hysterical. Not only did they have to take Atlas away in an ambulance, they also had to call an ambulance for me because I couldn't breathe. It was the first and only panic attack I'd ever had. No one would tell me where he was or if he was even okay. My father wasn't even arrested for what he'd done. Word got out that Atlas had been staying in that old house and that he had been homeless. My father became revered for his heroic act. My father became revered for his heroic act, saving his little girl from the homeless boy who manipulated her into having sex with him. My father said I'd shamed our whole family by giving the town something to gossip about. And let me tell you, they still gossip about it. I heard Catty on the bus today telling someone she tried to warn me about Atlas. She said she knew he was a bad news from the moment he laid eyes on him. She laid eyes on him, which is crap. If Atlas had been on the bus with me, I probably would have kept my mouth shut and been mature about it like he tried to teach me to be. Instead, I was so angry, I turned around and told Catty she could go to hell. I told her Atlas was a better human than she ever be, and if I ever heard her say one more bad thing about him, she'd regret it. She just rolled her eyes and said, "Jesus, Lily, did he brainwash you?" He was a dirty, thieving, homeless kid who was probably on drugs. He used you for food and sex, and now you're defending him? She's lucky the bus stopped at my house right then. I grabbed my bag and walked off the bus, then went inside and cried in my room for 3 hours straight. Now my head hurts, but I knew the only thing that would make me feel better is if I finally got it all out on paper. I've been avoiding writing this letter for 6 months now. No offense, Ellen, but my head still hurts. So does my heart. Maybe even more right now than it did yesterday. This letter didn't help one damn bit. I think I'm going to take a break from writing to you for a while. Writing to you reminds me of him, And it just all hurts so much. Until he comes back for me, I'm just going to keep pretending to be okay. I'll keep pretending to swim when really all I'm doing is floating, barely keeping my head above water. Lily. I closed the journal after reading the last page. I don't know what to feel because I feel everything: rage, love, sadness, happiness. I've always hated that I couldn't remember most of that night, no matter how hard I tried to think back on every word that was said between us. The fact that Lily wrote it all down is a gift, albeit a sad one. There were so many things about that time in my life that I was afraid she was too fragile to hear. I only wanted to protect her from the negative stuff going on in my life, but reading her words has shown me that she didn't need protecting from me. She didn't need protecting from it. If anything, she could have helped me through it. It makes me want to write her another letter. But even more, it makes me want to be in her presence, talking about these things face to face. I know we're taking things slow, but the more I'm around her, the more impatient I am to be around her again. I stand up to take the journal inside and to grab something to drink for the wait, but I pause as soon as I come to a stand. There is a street light at the other end of the alley, creating a spotlight on the building, and there is a shadow moving across the light. The shadow travels across the building in the other direction, as if whatever is casting the shadow is coming my way. I back up a step, a step, so that I can remain hidden. Someone eventually comes into view. A kid closes in on the back door. I don't know if this kid is my brother, but it's definitely the same person I saw on the security footage at Corrigan's. The same clothes, the same hoodie tightened around their face. I remain hidden and watch them, becoming more and more convinced by the second that it's exactly who I think it is. He's built like me. Oops. He's built like me. Uh, he even moves like me. I'm filled with anxious energy because I want to meet him. I want to tell him that I'm not angry, that I know what he's going through. I'm not sure I was even angry at whoever was doing this before I knew it could potentially be my brother. It's hard to be angry at a kid, but it's especially hard to be angry at one who was raised by the same woman who attempted to raise me. Who attempted to raise me. I know that I know what it's like to have to do what you can to survive. I also know what it's like when you do anything to get someone's attention. Anyone's. There were times in my childhood I just wanted to be noticed. And I have a feeling that's exactly what's going on here, is hoping to be caught. This is the more this is more a cry for attention than anything. He walks right up to the back door of the restaurant without an ounce of hesitation. This place has become familiar to him. He checks the back door to see if it's locked. When it doesn't open, he pulls a new can of spray paint out of his hoodie. I wait for him to lift it, and that's when I decide to make my presence known. You're holding it wrong. My voice startles him. When he spins around and looks up at me, and I see how young he really is, my heartstrings stretch so tight. My heartstrings stretch so tight. It feels like they're about to pop. I try to imagine Theo out here alone in the middle of the night like this. There's still a youthfulness to the fear in his eyes. When I start walking toward him, he backs up a step, looking around for a quick escape, but he doesn't attempt to run. I'm sure he's curious about what's going on, what's going to happen. Isn't this why he's been showing up here night after night? I hold out my hand for the can of spray paint. He hesitates, but then hands it to me. I demonstrate how to hold it the proper way. If you do it like this, it won't drip. You hold it too close. Every emotion is running across his face as he studies me, from anger to fascination to betrayal. The two of us are quiet as we take in just how much we look alike. We both took after our mother. Same jawline, same light eyes, same mouth, down to the unintentional frown. It's a lot. It's a lot for me to take in. I've been resigned to the idea that I had no family, yet here he is in the flesh. It makes me wonder what he is feeling while he looks back at me. Anger, obviously. Disappointment. I lean a shoulder against the building, looking down at him with complete transparency. I didn't know you existed, Josh. Not until a few hours ago. The kid shoves his hands into the pockets of his hoodie and looks at his feet. Bullshit, he mutters. The hardness in him at such a young age makes me sad. I ignore the anger in his response and pull my keys out to unlock the back door to the restaurant. You hungry? I hold the door open for him. He looks like he wants to run, but after a moment of indecision, he ducks his head and walks inside. I flip on the lights. I flip on the lights and make my way into the kitchen. I grab the ingredients to make him a grilled cheese and start cooking while he walks around, slowly taking everything in. He touches things, opens drawers, cabinets. Maybe he's taking inventory for the next time he decides to break in. Or maybe his curiosity is a cover for his fear. I'm plating his food when he finally speaks up. How do you know who I am? If you didn't know who I... How do you know who I am if you didn't know I existed? This feels like it could lead to a lengthy conversation, and I'd rather have it while he's more comfortable. There isn't a table back here with seating, so I motion toward the doors that lead into the dining room. There's enough light from the exit signs that I don't have to power up the dining room lights. Sit here. I point to table 8. And he takes a seat in the exact spot our mother sat in earlier tonight. He starts eating as soon as I set his food down. What do you want to drink? He swallows and then shrugs. Whatever. I got back to the kitchen and pour him a glass of ice water and then slide into the booth across from him. He drinks half of it in one gulp. Your mother showed up here tonight, I say. She's looking for you. He makes a face that indicates he doesn't care. And then he continues eating. Where have you been staying? Places, he says with a mouthful. Are you in school? Not lately. I let him get in and few more bites before I continue. The last thing I want to do is run him off with too many questions. Why did you run away? I ask. Because of her? Sutton? I nod. I wonder what kind of relationship they have if he doesn't even call her mum. Yeah, we got on a fight. We got in a fight. We always fight over the stupidest shit. He eats his last bite, then downs the rest of his water. And your dad, Tim? He left when I was little. His eyes roam around the room, landing on the tree. When he looks back at me, he tilts his head. Are you rich? If I was, I wouldn't tell you. You've tried to rob my you've tried to rob me several times. Now, I can see a smirk playing across his lips, but he refused to release it. He relaxes into the booth more, pulling his hoodie away from his face. Strands of greasy brown hair fall forward and he pushes them back. His hair holds the shape of a cut that's long overdue, with sides that have grown out too long and uneven to be intentional. She told me you left because of me. She said you didn't want a brother. I have I have to hold back my irritation. I pull his empty plate of food and his glass toward me, and I stand up. I didn't know about you until today, Josh. I swear. I would have been around if I had. He eyes me from his seat, studying me, wondering if he can trust me. You know about me now. He says he says that like it's a challenge to do better, to prove his low expectations of the world wrong. I nudge my head toward the doors to the kitchen. You're right. Let's go. He doesn't immediately get out of the booth. Where to? My house? I have a room for you as long as you stop cussing so much. I motion for him to stand up. An 11-year-old muttering cuss words all the time seems desperate. It's not cool until. Oh, sorry. I motion for him to stand up. An 11-year-old muttering cuss words all the time seems desperate. It's not cool until you're at least 14. Cussing is like swearing, basically. Um, I'm not 11. I'm 12. Oh, she said you were 11. Still, too young to be cool. Josh stands up and starts to follow me through the kitchen. I spin and face him as I push back through the doors. And for future reference, you spelled asshole wrong. There is no W. He looks surprised. I thought it looked funny after I wrote it. I put his dishes in the sink, but it's almost 3 in the morning and I'm not in the mood to wash them. I flip the lights and have Josh lead the way out the back door. When I'm locking it, he says, Are you going to tell Sutton I'm here? I don't know what I'm going to do yet, I admit. I start walking down the alley, and he rushes to catch up with me. I'm thinking of going to Chicago anyway, he says. I probably won't stay sorry. I probably won't stay more than one night at your place. I laugh at the idea that this kid thinks I'm going to allow him to run off to another city now that I know exists. What am I getting myself into? I have a feeling my day-to-day responsibilities have just doubled. Do we have any other siblings I don't know about? I ask him. Just the twins, but they're only 8. I stop in my tracks and look at him. He grins. I'm kidding. It's just the two of us. I shake my head and grab the back of his hoodie, pulling it down over his head. You're something. So he's like pulling this. He's smiling when He's smiling when we make it to my car. I'm smiling too, until I feel a sharp stab of worry in the center of my gut. I've known him for half an hour. I've known of him for a fraction of a day. Yet I suddenly feel like I'll be protective of him for a lifetime. Chapter 16, Lily. You lose your mornings after having children. I used to open my eyes and lie in bed for several minutes before grabbing my phone and catching up on everything I might have missed while I slept. I'd have a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, and then mentally map out my day while I showered. But now that I have Emmy, every early her early morning cry rips me out of bed, and I become her gopher before before I even have time to pee. I rush to change her, rush to clothe her, rush to feed her. By the time I'm finished with morning mother duties, I'm late for work and barely have time to do those things for myself. It's why I cherish Sunday mornings. It feels like the only day of the week I get any sense of calm. When Amy wakes up on Sundays, I always bring her back to bed with me. We lie together and I listen to her bubble, and there's absolutely no rush to get up or be somewhere. Sometimes, like right now, she falls back to sleep and I just stare at her for long stretches of time, marveling at the wonder that is motherhood. I grab my phone and take a picture of her to text to Ryle, but I hesitate before hitting send. I don't miss Ryle at all, but it does make me sad in moments like this, that Ryle doesn't get to do this with us, or that I don't get to share in the joys they have together. There's nothing better than adoring the child you made with the person you made them with, which is why I always try to text him pictures and videos. But I'm still upset about last night. I don't really feel like reaching out yet. I saved the picture for a more peaceful day. Fucking Ryle. Divorce is difficult. I knew it would be, but it's so much harder than I anticipated. And navigating divorce with a child in the mix is a million times trickier. You're stuck interacting with that person for the remainder of your life. You have to either figure out a way to plan birthday parties together or figure out a way to be okay with having separate celebrations. You have to plan on which holidays each of you get to spend with your child, which days of the week, down to which days of the week, down to which hours of the day sometimes. You can't snap your fingers and be done with the person you married and divorced. You're stuck with them forever. I'm stuck dealing with Ryle's feelings forever. And frankly, I'm growing tired of always feeling sorry. Oh. I'm stuck dealing with Ryle's feelings forever. And frankly, I'm growing tired of always feeling sorry for him, worried for him, fearful of him, considerate of his feelings. How long am I supposed to wait before I start dating someone else without Ryle being justified in his jealousy? How long do I have to wait before I tell him I'm dating Atlas if Atlas and I become a thing? How long until I get to start making decisions about my own life without worrying about his feelings? My phone vibrates. It's my mother calling. I slide softly out of the bed to walk to the living room before answering it. Hey, can I have Emerson today? I laugh at her blatant disregard for her daughter now that she has a granddaughter. I'm good. How are you? My mother loves Emmy as much as I do. I'm convinced of that. Even I'm convinced of that. When Emmy turned 6 weeks old, my mother started taking her for a few hours at a time while I worked. She actually stayed at her house overnight last month. It was Emmy's first night away from me since she's been born. She had fallen asleep at my mother's, and neither of us wanted to wake her, so I went back for her the next morning. Rob and I are close by. Rob and I are close by. We could come pick her up in 20 minutes. We're going to the botanical gardens. I thought it would be fun to get her out. I'm sure you could use a break. Yeah, sure. I get her dressed. Half an hour later, there is a knock at my door. I open it and let my mother and Rob inside. My mother beelines across the living room straight to Emmy, who is on the pallet on the floor. Hi, Mom, I say it teasingly. Look at this adorable outfit, my mother says, picking her up. Did you buy her this? No, it's a hand-me-down from Riley. Hand-me-down from Riley, actually. So basically, it's second-hand. So yeah, it's basically a clothes that Riley wore, and now it's Emmy wearing it. Hand-me-down. Nice expression. It's nice that Riley is 6 months older. We haven't had to buy Emmy any clothes because Elisa of gives me more than enough of Riley's. And there's always a great condition. And they're always in great condition because I don't think Riley ever wears an outfit twice. Emmy is wearing the outfit Riley wore at her first Emmy is wearing the outfit Riley wore at her first birthday party. I was hoping it would eventually be passed down to Emmy because it's adorable. It's a pair of pink leggings with green whole watermelon on them, and a green long-sleeved top with a pink slice of watermelon in the center of it. My mother has bought almost everything else Emmy wears, including the blue jacket I'm putting on her right now. That doesn't match her outfit, my mother says. Where's the pink jacket I bought her? It's too little, and it's a jacket, and she's 1 year old. It doesn't matter if she doesn't match. If she doesn't match, my mother huffs, and I can tell by that look on her face that Emmy is going to come home in a brand new jacket this afternoon. I kiss Emmy on the cheek, and my mother heads for the door. I hand Rob the diaper bag, and he hoists it over his shoulder. Want me to carry her? He asks my mother. She squeezes Emmy tighter. I've got her. She addresses me over her shoulder. We'll be back in a few hours. About what time? I ask her. I don't usually clarify. I don't usually clarify a time with her, but I'm thinking about asking Atlas what he's doing right now. We can maybe grab lunch since we're both off today and I'm kid free. I'll text you. Why? Are you going somewhere? She asks. I figured you'd catch up and sleep. I don't dare tell her I might sneak away to meet a guy. She'd ask me questions well past the botanical garden closing hours. Yeah, I'll probably just sleep. I'll keep my phone on, though. Have fun. My mother is out the door and down the hallway. Oh my God, I don't know how to read anymore. And down the hallway. But Rob pauses and looks at me. Make sure you park your car in the same spot. She'll notice if you move it. Wait. Okay. Pauses and looks at me. Make sure you park your car in the same spot. She'll notice if you move it and she'll ask questions. He winks, a clear indication that he can read me better than she can. Thanks for the heads up, I whisper. I close the door and go find my phone. I've been rushing to get Emmy dressed. I've, sorry. I've been rushing to get Emmy dressed and out the door, so I haven't looked at my phone since I hung up with my mother. I have a missed call from Atlas from 20 minutes ago. My stomach's my stomach flips with anticipation. I hope he's off today. I use my phone camera to check my appearance and then I call him back over video chat. I hated when he called me over video chat the first time, but now it feels like the natural thing to do. I always want to see his face, like seeing what he's wearing and where he's at and the faces he makes when he says the things he says. I'm already smiling when I hear the sound that indicates he's answered the call. He lifts the phone, and when I finally make out what I'm looking at, I can see he's standing in an unfamiliar kitchen. It's white and bright and different from the kitchen I remember when I visited his house almost 2 years ago. Morning, he says. He's smiling, but he looks tired, like he either just woke up or is about to fall asleep. Hey, sleep well? He asks. I did, finally. I squint my eyes, trying to see past him. Did you remodel your kitchen? Atlas glances over his shoulder and then looks back at me. I moved. What? When? Earlier this year, sold my house and got a place closer to the restaurant. Oh, that's nice. Closer to the restaurants means closer to me. I know. Oh, that's nice. Closer to the restaurant means closer to me. I wonder how far apart we live now. Are you cooking? Atlas, Atlas aims his phone at his countertop. There is a pan of eggs. There is a pan of eggs, a pile of bacon, pancakes, and 2 plates. 2 glasses of juice. My heart drops. That's a lot of food, I said, attempting to hide the immense jealousy running through me. I'm not alone, he says, panning the screen back to his face. My disappointment must be clearly written all over me because he immediately shakes his head. No, Lily, that's not. He laughs and seems flustered. His reaction is adorable, but not entirely reassuring yet. He holds the phone up a little higher until I can see a person standing behind him. I'm not sure who's with him, but it isn't another woman. It's a kid. A kid who looks just like Atlas. And he's staring right at me with eyes that look identical to Atlas's eyes. Does he have a child I don't know about? What is going on? She thinks I'm your son, the kid says. You're freaking her out. Atlas immediately aims the phone back at his own face. He's not my son, he's my brother. Brother? Atlas moves the phone so that I'm looking at his brother again. Say hi to Lily. No. Atlas rolls his eyes and shoots me an apologetic look. He's kind of a jerk, he says. He says that right in front of his little brother. Atlas, I whisper, shocked at every part of this conversation. It's okay, he knows he's a jerk. I see the kid laugh behind him, so I know he knows Atlas is kidding. But I'm so confused. I had no idea you had a brother. I didn't know either. Found out last night after our date. I think back on last night and how it was obvious something was bothering him about the text he received. But I had no idea it was a family issue. I guess this explains why his mother was trying to contact him. Sounds like you have a lot to work through today. Wait, don't hang up yet, he says. He walks out of the kitchen and into another room for privacy. He closes the door and sits down on his bed. Biscuits still have about 10 minutes. Biscuits? Still have about 10 minutes I can chat. Biscuits. Okay, he's cooking biscuits. Okay. Biscuits still have 10 minutes. I can I can I can chat. Sorry. Um wow, pancakes and biscuits. He's a lucky kid. I had a black coffee for breakfast. Atlas smiles, but his smile doesn't reach his eyes. He smiled like he was in a good mood in front of his brother, but now that I have him alone, I can see the stress in the way he's holding himself. Where's Emmy? He asks. My mother has her for a few hours. When it registers that we're both off work and I don't have Emmy, he sighs like he's bummed. You mean you actually have a free day? It's okay, we're taking it slow, remember? Besides, it's not every day you find out you have a little brother. He dives a hand through his hair and sighs. He's the one who's been vandalizing the restaurant. I startled at that comment. I need to hear more of the story. That's why my mother tried calling me last week to see if I'd heard from him. I feel like a dick for blocking her number now. You didn't know. I'm standing in my living room, but I want to sit down for this conversation. I'm standing in my living room, but I want to sit down for this conversation. I walked to the couch and set my phone on the arm of it, propping propping it up with the pop socket. Did he know about you? Atlas nods. Yeah, and he thought I knew about him, which is why he was taking out his anger on my restaurants. Other than the thousands of dollars he cost me, he seems like a good kid, or he at least seems like he has the potential to be a good kid. I don't know. He's gone through a lot. He's gone through a lot of shit I went through with my mother, so there's no telling what that's done to him. Is your mother there too? Atlas shakes his head. I haven't told her I found him yet. I spoke to a friend of mine who's a lawyer, and he said the sooner I tell her, the better, so she can't use it against me. Use it against him? Are you want are you wanting to get custody of him? Atlas nods without hesitation. I don't know if that's what Josh I don't know if that's what Josh wants, but there isn't another option I could live with. I know what kind of mother she is. He mentioned wanting to find his father. He mentioned wanting to find his father, but Tim is even worse than my mother. What kind of rights do you have as his brother? Any? Atlas shakes his head. Not unless my mother agrees to let him live with me. I'm not looking forward to that conversation. She'll say no just to spite me. But Atlas releases a heavy sigh. If he stays with her, he won't have a chance in hell. It's already harder than I was at that age. Angrier. I'm afraid of what that anger might turn into if he doesn't gain some stability in his life. But who's to say I'm capable of something like this? If I fuck him up more than our mother, if what if I fuck him up more than my mother has? You won't, Atlas. You know you won't. He accepts my reassurance with a quick flash of a smile. That's easy for you to say. You're natural at this whole raising kids thing. I just fake it well, I say. I've no idea what I'm doing. No parent does. We're all full of we're all full of imposter syndrome, winging winging it every minute of the day. Why is that both confident and terrifying? He asks. You just summed up parenthood with those two words. He excels. I should probably get back in there and make sure he isn't robbing me. I'll call you later today. Okay? Okay, good luck. The way Atlas silently mouths the words goodbye in return is sexy as hell. When I end the call, I fall onto my bed and sigh. I love the way I feel after I talk to him. He makes me giddy and energized and happy, even when the call is as shocking and chaotic as that one was. I wish I knew where he lived. I'd I'd go give him a drive. Sorry, I'd go give him a drive-by hug like the one he gave me last night. I hate that he's dealing with this, but at the same time, I'm happy for him. I can't imagine how alone he's felt since I met him, not having a single family member in his life. And that poor kid, it's like Atlas all over again, as if one kid feeling that unloved, as if one kid feeling that unloved by their mother wasn't enough. My phone chimes, indicating I have a text. I smile when I see it's from him. I smile even bigger when I see how long the text is. Thank you for being the most comforting part of my life right now. Thank you for always being the beacon I need every time I feel lost. Whether you mean to shine on me or not, I'm grateful for you. I've missed you. I absolutely should have kissed you. I'm covering my mouth with my hand when I finish reading it. I'm filled with so much emotions. I don't know where to put it. Josh is lucky to have you in his life now. Within seconds, hearts. Atlas hearts my text. At hearts. Oh my God. So he clicks on a heart. He makes a heart, like um hearts my text. I didn't know. Then I send another one. And you're right. You absolutely should have kissed me. Atlas hearts that text too. Aww. And that's it. That's the end of chapter 16. So I was already ready to read chapter 7. But no. Let's stop it for now, for today. So here everything got into place and the relationship with the little brother is quite a sweet and funny one. Like they're teasing each other. So it's quite it seems like a cat and mouse relationship, or yeah, that's going to evolve like the relationship that he had with Theo, that he has with Theo. So um, teasing each other. Um, so yeah, it's it's a new chapter for Atlas, really. So it's interesting to see how that relationship is going to evolve, and whether he is really going to adopt him or be his not adopt him, but he is being his legal uh, parent, I would say. So we'll see in the future. Well, we'll see next week. Next week we'll know more. So I hope you enjoy this live reading. Thank you for watching this video or following my channel, or sharing this content to anyone that you know. It is always a pleasure to read comments and have feedback on the live readings or the book club in general. And it makes me keep going. Um, it makes me keep going, yeah, and continue to create content for you. And well, not very elaborated content, but keep reading for you. So don't hesitate to leave any comments that you might that you want, any feedback, especially towards this reading and these chapters in particular. I will be happy to answer you. In the meantime, I hope that you'll be able to join me next time, and I will see you next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central European Time, and we will read chapters 17 and 18. So see you soon. Bye bye.